So hello everyone, my name is Sai Ganesh and I'm from AI/ML department of Vishnu Institute of Technology. So today let's discuss about some of the important concepts of JavaScript. Now let's first look at the concept of objects in JavaScript. So objects are basically a collection of some certain data in the form of key value pairs. So there's a key and each key has some value in it. Now objects might store some data and it can also store methods or functions inside it. Now let's create an object called person. Now this person has some name which is and he has some age which is 19 or 18. Now we can also create functions inside it. Now let's create a function greet which takes no arguments. Now say console.log. Now the function says good morning. So now in this way we just created an object. Now let's see how to access the elements inside an object. Now say console.log person dot name. In this way we can get the name of the person. As you can see, we got the name Sai. Now there is another way of this is one of the ways of getting accessing the elements inside an object. There's another way of accessing elements. Now let's see that. Which is console. So here we can actually open a square brackets and inside the quotation marks we can use the variable name which is age. Now in this way we got the age which is 19 here. Now we can access the functions too, which is greet, which takes no arguments. So we got it here. We got the text that has been displayed over here. Now let's look at the concept of nested loops, so nested objects. That means objects inside objects. Now let's create an object called address here because address might contain many items like city, the area, or the apartment, or the pin code. So now let's say the city name. The city name be Bhimavaram, and the pin code be 50201. Now we can access the object inside an object just like how we access the name and the other values and functions. We can directly say console.log person.address. So now we got the object here. So so now we can actually modify the values inside the key of an object. Now let's see how we do that. We can directly way that just like how we access the items here. So we can do it in the same way. Let's say we can change the person dot's name as Ganesh. Now let's console this. Now let's see that the name has been changed into Ganesh from Sai. So in this way we can modify the elements, the values inside the key of any object. Now let's move on to the concept of functions. Now let's look at a basic function which is add that takes two arguments as a comma b and returns the sum of them. Now we can call this function anywhere. We can say console.log since we are returning it. Now let's send 5,4. Now let's run it. So we got the answer as 9, which is the sum of 5 plus 4. So this is a basic function. So there are some things called as function expressions where we can store the return value of the function in another variable. We can directly say const add. So by doing the same, we can get the sum. So we are storing the sum value of the two arguments, which is which are a comma b, and we are storing it in add. Now there is another thing called arrow functions. Now let's say const subtract, and it takes two arguments a comma b, and it returns the the subtraction of them. So this is widely used for, this is very beneficial because it has very minimal lines of code. So it is very syntax friendly. It has very less syntax. So it is used better used for reducing the lines of codes. Now let's say console not long subtract, and we can pass the parameters like 4. So now we got the subtraction of 5 comma 4, which is 1. So this is the concept of functions. Now let's look at the concept of this inside an object. Now let's say inside the greet function itself, let's say good morning. We can remove this good morning, and we can say this dot name. So what it does is it prints the name Sai. So actually, since it's a normal function, it is printing this. This dot name refers to the name inside the object, which is Sai. So since it's a normal function, we can see that it's printing Sai. But when we use an arrow function here, now if we try to run it, we are getting the word undefined here because this keyword can only apply for normal functions in the object, and this does not work for the arrow functions because arrow function does not refer, when you say this dot name, it does not refer to the object value, to the value inside the object, which is here we got a name. It doesn't refer to the data here. It refers to the global scope, so we don't use it. If we want to use this keyword, then we have to definitely use normal functions. We cannot use arrow functions. So this is the variation of this in normal functions and arrow functions. Now let's look at three types of variables. One is let, where. So let's say where x is equal to 5. So if we do this, the where actually, you can actually redeclare where. You can again say where x is equal to 9, and there's no problem with it. You do not get any error. But when it comes to let, and you can reassign it to, you can say x is equal to 8. There's no problem. Now let's say let f is equal to 4, and let's say let f is equal to 9. So you cannot do that. You can see that the JavaScript shows an error because we cannot redeclare a let kind of a let type of data, but you can reassign it. You can reassign it to 9. So now let's say const const b is equal to 9. If we say const b is equal to 0, so again the JavaScript throws up an error because you cannot redeclare const 2. And the surprising part is that you cannot redeclare the name too. In const, once the data is declared as, for example, as we say b is 9, so b is 9, you cannot change it. So that's the benefit of constant, because sometimes you don't want to change your value, even by a mistake. So in that kind of situations, const plays a key role. So now let's look at export and import. Let's look at modulars. So modulars are actually some piece of code that you can export or import to reuse them. Just like functions, how functions are better for reusability. Modulars are also used for reusability. It improves code organization and all. Now let's export a function here. Export function add x comma y. uh, j comma k, and it returns j plus k. So here actually we're exporting this function. Now let's see how to import it. Now let's take another JavaScript file. Now we can import it actually. Import, we can have to open the curly braces, add from the file name, which is app.js. Now we can here directly use it. We can directly use the function console.log, which takes two parameters, right? 6 comma 7. Now let's see if it prints the result or not. So it did print the result, 6 comma 7, which is 13. So in this way, you can yeah, we can export a function from one Java file and you can import that function through another Java files. This is JavaScript files. So this is very beneficial for code reusability, also for code organization. So that's all. Thank you.